All right, after deliberating for about 45 minutes today, the jury went home. They will resume deliberations tomorrow morning at 9. Joining us to discuss is criminal defense attorney Silva Meian. Silva, great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us here on the program. I gotta say, one of the things that was highlighted for me, especially in the state's closing argument, was just how slim or lean their case is. A lot of the evidence they pointed out didn't really resonate with me. Really, it sounds to me like all they have really is that phone call. And whether you believe Rusty, that she called him after or before they found out about the body and where it was.
Oh, Michael, I couldn't agree more. First of all, best dream team on television, Judge Ashley and Michael, thank you so much. You know, I adore you both. Okay, I thought, you know, it's so funny. It is such an unbelievably circumstantial case. And you're absolutely right, Michael. It's like I left her close. And first of all, both attorneys did a great job with what they had, but I found the DA's argument a little desperate to me. You know, there were little things that she put in there I did not like. For instance, she was talking about her style. It's not my style, but whatever. Like little things like that I don't like. It pulls away from the seriousness of the case and what the case is about, but I think she had to stretch. Her rebuttal, I thought, was way too long. I thought the defense did an absolute excellent job. And really, you know, it's funny. I always say there are two types of jurors. There are jurors that absolutely believe, like CSI. They want the actual physical evidence. And then you have jurors that think, look, she's sitting in the defendant's chair, and it makes sense. She has motive. Well, that's enough for me. I think there's going to be two factions of jurors variation, and it is a very DA case. I think the strong feeling, and we know that it has to be beyond a reasonable doubt.
I almost felt like when the state started, they were convinced they had all the evidence out, and then by the time they got to closings, I felt like, uh-oh, defense made some pretty hard writing notes, and after the fourth note, I stopped because she wanted money. She liked her things. Motive could be argued for the kids as well.
That, I think, Judge Ashley, is the biggest issue with this case. Because the family is so emotional, and arguably there could be motive for everyone in this. Then you have to believe in reasonable doubt here. So I think the DA is really counting on the fact that people the truth sometimes doesn't tell the truth, but you should believe him tells the truth. And that money really big issue. In fact, I would show, and he said, do you think she did it? And I'm like, Philip, I can't say she did. I am not convinced. And I think like a duck, it's a duck. This is reasonable doubt. I can't even fathom a guilty.
And it comes down to, Judge, it was either the son, Scott, or her. Yeah. But if you can't pinpoint it, that's not enough to say, oh, I'm pretty sure
they did it. That's not enough. Right. And, you know, who knows? Could they have both been involved? We talked about that a little bit, pointing the finger at each other. We don't know.
Could have been a plan from the beginning. We talked about a movie. I think it was The Lincoln Lawyer, where the mother and son point the finger at each other, knowing that it will be difficult to get a guilty verdict for either one of them, and they both walk away free. It's not with, you know, outside the realm of possibility.
Yeah, and I think the fact we're talking about that means no conviction. But, again, we don't know what the jury's going to do. Coming up next, Silva, stay with us. It's the defense's turn to sway the jury's opinion in the Byrne trial, murder trial.
This is 320 pounds. I am 185 pounds. And that's all I have, as my partner very clearly laid out to you.
Here on Court.
Wisconsin, where the mother accused of killing. We'll have the latest in the murder case of Elijah Vu when CourtTV Live returns.
Accused of killing her husband and then burning.
It desecrated her
trial. Live coverage today on CourtTV.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, to unpack the Ferris family drama as deliberations get underway.
Closing Arguments with Vinny Politan tonight at 8/7 CourtTV.
We are continuing our coverage now in the Byrne Pile murder trial for Melody Ferris. After deliberating for less than 2 hours at the end of the day today, the jury went home for the day. They will return tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. to resume deliberations.
If convicted, Ferris could get up to life in prison for killing her husband, Gary, back in 2018. Ferris has pointed the finger at her son, Scott. Well, today, during its closing argument, the defense continued to push that very theory.
bullets, these are what Scott had in the barn and in his bedroom. The one on the left is actually from his nightstand. And what kind of bullet are those? Those are 38 special bullets. 38 special, 158 green, lead round nose. American people. And he also heard Scott talking about, actually he said, Chris said he didn't own a handgun, never did. We know that's not true. But he's got this many 38 bullets in his immediate realm, so to speak. That's a lot of 38 bullets for somebody that doesn't have the ability to shoot a 38 bullet. But he did, because we know from his own testimony, he had a .357 Magnum. Now he claims it was stolen, and we'll get into that in just a few minutes. But, so that's a lot of bullets for somebody that ain't got a gun. Now what did he say? Well, somebody bought those over. Who? No idea. When? No idea. I mean, bullets fairly expensive. I'm not going over to somebody's house and leaving my box of bullets. Yet again, just doesn't make sense. This has infuriated me from the get-go. And I have waited for 6 years to get to stand here to talk about this gun and this absolute nonsense that the sheriff's office took hook, line, and sinker from that man's mount on July the 5th. The magic gun in the basement. So what did Scott say this gun looked like? That it looked like that. It was chrome, it was a snub nose, he didn't touch it, he didn't take it out, it was in some kind of a holster. August 2024, over 6 years later, here comes Jenna into their office and says, guess what? I saw a gun too. And that's what she told the investigators. And they actually made her, and it's in evidence, you'll have it back there with, put it in, photographs of guns and said, pick it to be that. Pull it together to do something like a looking gun. Will it handle? Chris, on the other hand, and 6 years later, he hops up on a gun too. But he didn't see it now for Retta. Remember, it was just laying on anybody, and he took it and he put it up on top of the refrigerator. It was not in evidence. But he said it was a silver gun with an ivory handle. Let me propose to you what that is. That is 3 people to cooperate. The problem is they just don't have the ability to hold it together because of the search for Mr. Ferris. Of Scott telling law enforcement in any of his questions, interviews, or anything like that about testifying. What was his excuse for that? I think a gun's missing. I'm worried about his safety. Need to check the trail camera and just always delete photographs from the trail camera whenever I go and check it. In the middle of
That I propose to you. That the district attorney's office and the sheriff's office and all law enforcement, A1, from the early minutes of the 911 call, which let's think who made the 911 call. It was that man right there. He was in control from the very first. Scott controlled the case. To me shows doubt. I think going further into that day and the fact that this investigation was completely veered in one direction, and that's to Melody Walker Ferris. Scott had been out at the lake all day. And there was a lot of testimony heard about that and the life and the dynamic that he had on the farm. He referred to the farm as his. He referred to the farm as his property, it was his possession. I mean, his sister even called it kind of comical. But you saw, and you'll get to go back through any of those you want to go back through and see the communications between Scott and his father. What really was happening was that Scott was a grown man who had every second. So whatever they're saying about Melody has to at least apply to Scott. Controlled by his father. Bring me back that credit card. Where's my credit card? It better be over and over. It's in the messages. You've seen it. You can go see it again. So that financial motive alone, that control is, I think that's a doubt. In this case, all over bullets. The ability, and it's not Ferris. He's sitting here today.
Here now, that's criminal defense attorney Silva Meian. All right, Silva. So I felt like the defense attorney did at least say things to actually poke holes in the state's case and bring up a lot of good points, and he was pretty charismatic. How did you think he did?
Oh, Judge Ashley, absolutely. I mean, we always say when you have the facts, you argue the facts. When you don't have the facts, you argue the story. They both did a brilliant job arguing the facts and the holes. I loved how they pointed to the fact that police here, investigators made a lot of mistakes. I love the fact that he also pointed the finger as the DA, also being a part of law enforcement and jumping to conclusions. And as we know, Michael and Judge Ashley, we always talk about this. The best defense is when you can point away from your own client and try to put the blame on either someone else or something else. They did it beautifully, and they did it in a way that was not hyperbole. They actually picked out actual things that made you go, wait a second. You know, in one of the clips that was played earlier, the defense attorney brought up the fact that the bathroom was cleaned, like beyond clean. Why wasn't that analyzed further? The trail video, I mean, everything that we were missing in our last trial with Sarah Boone, we got in this trial. I think it was one of the best defense closes. It was to the point. It was really, I think, maybe a class in how to successfully argue a case, whether they win or not. I think they did everything they needed to do to really fight for their client in a very smart and analytical way.
Silva, the state in their rebuttal argument made a comment regarding that demonstration that we saw that I thought was really well done and made the point it wanted to make. They kind of went after it saying, hey, they're reducing the life of this victim to some bags of dirt or whatever was in those bags. It hit wrong with me. I mean, I don't know. And again, I think it goes back to what you were saying earlier, this idea that they were sort of, you know, grasping for straws at times, looking for things to argue. What did you make of that?
You know, Michael, it did bother me. It was, I think, a low blow to say, well, they're comparing him to, you know, fertilizer, and knowing that the defense cannot clear that up, right? Rebuttal, they always have that final word. I wish the defense would have just, I know the judge would have overruled it, but Your Honor, objection, that is too far. Let the jury hear your shock of, but here's the thing too, it's a desperate move, right? Because after her very long rebuttal, right? After her very long monologue, did you guys notice she didn't even address it? She couldn't. There is no explanation how that woman could have dragged a man over 300 pounds. So she did the best thing she did. She did a cheap shot. And some people will react positively to that, but I think the majority, they're not.
Yeah, I would agree.
That's exactly how it hit me.
Yeah,
it's
same.
Like she couldn't say anything else about it, so
she had to pick on that, right?
It felt like a low blow.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, Silva, stand by. Folks, stand by. Coming up next, it is day 10 of testimony in the Delphi murders trial. Defendant Richard Allen's prison psychologist took the stand today, testifying about Allen's alleged confessions to the double murder. We're going to bring you the latest updates from that courtroom coming up next. So keep it here on CourtTV.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Ashley Wilcott.
And I'm Michael Ayala. Before we take you back into court, we have another update in a major case that Court TV is tracking, the Delphi murders trial of Richard Allen. He's accused of killing teen friends Abby Williams and Libby German in February of 2017.
It is day 10 of testimony in the trial, but no cameras are allowed inside by court order. However, Our Court TV senior producer, Barbara McDonald, is covering the trial live. She's been providing us with updates from days she's able to get inside that courtroom. On the stand today was Alan's prison psychologist, Dr. Monica Walla.
Now, Dr. Walla told the court that she saw Alan daily when he was placed on suicide watch in the spring of 2023. She also testified that Alan confessed to her multiple times during their many sessions that he did kill Abby and Libby and that he acted alone.
She says Alan told her he, quote, made sure they were dead because he didn't want them to suffer. She also told the court while on suicide watch, Alan said he, quote, could not kill himself because he was too much of a coward.
Dr. Walla also said Alan told her that his intentions were sexual in nature and he was an alcoholic sex addict. Also, during some of the confessions, Dr. Walla said that Alan gave specific details about the crime relating to the teens' slashed throats and the branches over their bodies.
She also detailed how Alan's emotions were erratic and he often went off on tangents. Along with his confessions, Dr. Walla said Alan exhibited a series of bizarre behaviors like drinking toilet water and eating his own feces. When she asked him why he was acting like this, Dr. Walla says Alan simply said, quote, because I'm insane.
Now, according to our senior producer in that courtroom, Barbara McDonald, all Alan's defense made an attempt to impeach Dr. Walla as a witness. No word on the ruling in that impeachment just yet, but we will continue to keep you updated from the latest, or with all the latest from the Delphi murders case as we receive them into our newsroom. All right, let's bring back in our guest, still with us, criminal defense attorney Silva Meian. Silva, what do you make of that? This whole thing with the confessions, I think, is really the focal point of this case. I think the evidence isn't that great, but he has confessed, I think, up to 60 times. And according to this witness, and I've heard this from others as well, there are some details that he's given them in these confessions that they suggest only the killer could know. What do you make of it?
Yeah. This is fascinating. It's like, I know that doubt is building, right? Because there are just so many things that don't make sense. I've had mentally ill clients who have admitted to crimes that we proved they did not commit. And the behavior in this case is so unbelievably troubling, right? Like, you know, one moment he's completely confessing, the specifics are definitively troubling. Not only that, but the sketch is also very troubling, how close that he does look like the suspect, the witness seeing, you know, the dirt covered, the blood covered. But the mental illness, the fact that he did confess so much, is it that this man is so messed up? He was starving, he was hungry, not in the right mental space, suicidal. Did he read about this, the specifics, and then created or convinced himself even that he committed these murders? I am so confused is the best way to put it about this case, because when you mix in this level of mental illness, this level of psychosis when it comes to his confession, I always begin to doubt the veracity of the confession based on the hallucinations, based on the fact that he is so ill, based on the fact that he is suicidal. It brings a little bit of doubt. In fact, confession experts will bring that up as well, that it puts doubt into their claims. So it is a weird case.
Yeah, it's very weird. And I just want to point out that there were other confessions with things that didn't happen to the girls. He mentioned that he did sexually assault them, which we know did not happen. And I do want to say, and Silva, you know this, and Judge, you know this, I want to say it's very easy for someone to tell someone the specifics of a crime and then later on have them repeat it. We see this time and time again, whether it's in the interview room or whether it's, you know, someone in there talking to him. Remember, he was in solitary confinement and he had, you know, guards there who were mistreating him. A lot going on.
But that's what I wanted to mention, because he was actually on suicide watch in that cell for 13 months. And the warden who worked there for 28 years said he'd never seen anyone in that cell for 13 months, that typically they would use that for a few days, maybe weeks at the most. And so, Silva, it begs the question, isn't there an argument to be made that 13 months on suicide watch in a suicide watch cell where there are people recording everything he does and says, have made him have mental issues to then make up all these statements and confessions, because he was done. He just wanted out of there.
Oh my gosh, Judge Ashley, study after study after study, based on actual confinement, has shown throughout the years it has a definitive, horrific effect on the brain and a horrific effect on memory, and also what is reality and what is not. It is a ridiculous anyone that the defense has a very strong argument is it literally insane to the point in alternate reality where he's going to do. All of that is prime examination, and it can be a very long amount. We know that's solid, and when that happens, you have to statements and their reality.
I think, when they find out there's a lot of evidence, he was kept shackled for a lot of that going on in this one. Seconds left. It's really going to be incumbent to educate this jury about exactly about that.
A lot of people in America, anywhere, they don't think maybe just in Guantanamo, but no, it happens that's why we fight so hard. They could be guilty, but treat them humanely, because if we don't, it is in everyone's best interest that could maybe free a guilty person.
He's presumed innocent,
Yes.
so you don't treat one who is still innocent under the law. Author of Elijah Vu was arraigned in court today. We'll bring you her plea and more details in your front row seat to justice.
TV's new hit series, Interview with a Killer.
You that just wants to talk.
Critics are talking about.
Why would
Up on this must-see series on CourtTV channel. And watch a new episode this Sunday at 8 CourtTV.
Turning now to Wisconsin, where the mother of 3-year-old Elijah Vu pleaded not guilty to charges in connection to her son's death. Katrina Bower appeared over Zoom from jail during today's hearing. Her defense attorney entered the not guilty plea to 2 felony charges and 2 misdemeanors.
It looks like the state has filed an information earlier today. Attorney Gratz, have you received that document?
I have, Your Honor.
And do you waive reading?
Yes, it does reflect the same counts that are in the criminal complaint, so we would waive any formal reading, reserve jurisdictional or other objections, and enter not guilty pleas.
All right, is Ms. Bower wishing to exercise her right of substitution?
We did discuss that, and she is not.
All right, the not guilty pleas will be received.
Now, last month, Elijah Vu's remains were found on private property in the town of Two Rivers, Wisconsin. And then soon after, both Bower and her boyfriend, Jesse Vang, were slammed with additional charges in the toddler's death. Bower now faces charges of chronic neglect of a child resulting in death, neglecting a child, and resisting or obstructing an officer.
Vang is charged with physical abuse of a child, repeated acts causing death, hiding a corpse, and resisting or obstructing an officer. Bower was granted a $400,000 cash bond, and Vang was granted a $500,000 cash bond. Both were previously arrested on multiple child neglect charges after Vu was reported missing back in February.
The seriousness of this is beyond discussion. I should note, though, that Mr. Vang has been unable to post the cash previously set and remind the community that bail is not punishment. Bail is to assure his appearances.
A criminal and Vang, investigators detailed neglect and abuse, including a picture that dates back to the time of his death.
Pediatrician noted that, quote, to law enforcement and faces up to 60 years in prison if convicted and get life in prison.
All right, let's bring back Attorney Silva Meian. When I wore today, there was a lot of texting to Vang. One of the reasons she was sending him over to, because this little guy apparently was and walking around. See this as just the ultimate betrayal. This is sending him to this guy who's doing, and it's just the worst.
Even as defense attorneys, we have problems even defending them. Everyone deserves a defense. Profile cases in Lancaster, California. Angelic little boys were viciously tortured. Boyfriend. I think they stay with you for the rest of your life because you wonder. Everyone has cases that give you pause. Even when I was in cases like this, Maybe they didn't understand what they were doing. That sort of horrific evil, that one tough case. And I feel bad for defense attorneys who also have to try hard.
Unthinkable that this was done to a young, beautiful child. They're young, they can't protect themselves, they're vulnerable. Interesting to me, $400,000 particular state, and he probably was $100,000. Mom failed to protect. It's even worse than the boyfriend who actually did it. That's the way I think. But talk to Silva, that is their death associated to the abuse of a child.
Maybe because the intent is missing. I mean, quite honestly, the case where they try to torture, I don't want to torture this, to make this kid tougher. So there is merely trying to shape what child and make it. Could be a variety. I'm afraid we just don't know enough right now as to why they made the decision that they did. But we'll, and Judge Ashley, going back to you said that if you notice now, it's like we're seeing it in every single case, right? These defendants, they're really signing their own letters by these. Everybody can see it by a simple subpoena. Deleting your phone doesn't help. Once you put something on your phone, everyone lesson that everything you do. And I think at the end of the day, that's going to be also a huge piece of evidence against.
They have a Susie bang. They found the suitcase, found the child's DNA inside.
Yeah.
So they've got some good evidence.
Yeah, they do have good evidence. I agree with you. All right. Thank you, Silva Meian, for joining us tonight.
All right, Silva, we'll see you again soon. Folks, stick around. Ahead next hour, a trial date is set for a Michigan man accused of killing his wife and hiding her remains in a tank for years. Plus this.
We have an arrest warrant. Turn away from the camera. Yes, for you.
Who am I?
Turn away. Turn around and discuss.
Turn away. You're going to get hit.
In Arizona, a 66-year-old woman endures this aggressive arrest by U.S. Marshals, and she wasn't even the person that they were looking for.
This case is about Gary Wayne Ferris. And you're here because Melody Ferris shot him, concealed his death by putting him on a burn pile on their property like he was trash.
The fate of accused killer Melody Ferris is in the hands of the jury. Did the state do enough to prove her guilt? Keep it here on CourtTV, your front row seat to justice.